Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Catholic Cocktails. This is the show where we have a drink with some of our famous saints in the Catholic faith, and we tell you a little bit more about them, and then our bartender extraordinaire makes the drink. We test it out, talk a little bit about what Teresa says, and we move on. But we are sure having a lot of fun with this.
And we move on.
In fact, the show is based on this book here, Drinking with the Saints by Michael P. Foley, and
Yes.
we actually did get an email from Dr. Foley himself.
The man himself,
and
yes.
we got a thumbs up. We got his stamp of approval. He likes what we're doing. Hopefully you do too. So, yeah, take it away.
Alrighty, so as you know, for those of you who have been following, we start out the show by doing a little bit of an introduction, and then we introduce the drink and the bartender and everything that's going to be going on in the episode. Then we send it over to Teresa. She shares with us a little bit about the drink and the saint, and then we come back here, our bartender makes a drink, and then we enjoy it.
Yes, we do. Most of the time, we do enjoy it. There's been a couple of misses, but for the most part,
always win,
we
right?
have enjoyed them. The saint that we're highlighting this week is Saint Kateri, who is known as the Lily of the Mohawks, and she is the first Native American saint to be canonized. So the cocktail, obviously, that we're choosing for Saint Kateri is the White Lily. And what you're going to need to make this drink is triple sec, also daiquiri rum, gin, and absinthe.
It's quite the list.
It is a list.
So what you're going to need for this drink, as far as hardware goes, is your shaker, your glass, your ice, and a strainer.
All right. Well, now we know what we're making and how we're going to make it. Let's send it over to our area saint expert. Here is Teresa Zepeda with more on Saint Kateri.
Let us toast Saint Kateri Tekakwitha, the first Native American to be canonized. She was born in 1656 near present-day Aresville, New York. Her father was a Mohawk chief, and her mother, Algonquin, who had converted to Catholicism. Sadly, at the age of 4, her entire family died as a result of a smallpox epidemic. She survived, but her face was severely scarred, and she was left partially blind. The sunlight tortured her eyes, and so she spent much of her life walking in the shadows. She lived a normal life that a normal Native American Mohawken girl would. However, at the age of 18, a French Jesuit, Father de Lamberville, came to her village. He instructed her in the Catholic faith, and at the age of 20, she was baptized. When she was baptized, she took the name Gadeli, which is Mohawk for Catherine, specifically Catherine of Siena. In English, we pronounce that Mohawk name Kateri. And then on Christmas, 1677, she received her first communion. But her adopted family, the other villagers, were not happy about her conversion. They did not appreciate her new faith. And they were very hostile and violent towards her. The hostilities and violence escalated to such a point that Father de Lamberville was concerned about her safety. He suggested she go to St. Francis Xavier Mission near Montreal. She walked the 200-mile trek to Montreal. And there at the mission, she was known for her practice of prayer, her practice of penance, and her works of mercy. She suffered ill health all her life, and it was exacerbated by her extreme penances, that she died at the age of 24. But those who were at her bedside witnessed a miracle moments after her death, when her face was miraculously transformed. It went from being disfigured to healed, whole, and beautiful. She's lauded with the title, the Lily of the Mohawks. The lily in Catholic symbolism represents purity. So it is most appropriate that a drink named the White Lily should be raised in honor of her on her feast day.
All right, we are back here at the Harp Irish Pub in beautiful Meridian, Idaho, and our bartender extraordinaire today is Garrett. Garrett's going to walk us through the process of making the White Lily, and oh my goodness, that looks like a lot of alcohol, Garrett.
Yes, it does. So we're going to use gin, a white rum, in this case we're going to use Bacardi, triple sec, which is an orange liqueur, and absinthe, which tastes a little bit like black licorice.
Looking forward to that, because I've always said absinthe makes the heart grow fonder. Okay, dad jokes aside, Garrett is now going to show us how to shake together the White Lily.
All right. So for the White Lily, we're going to start with, will be all equal portions of everything except for the absinthe. We'll start with an ounce of white rum into our cocktail shaker. And then 1 ounce of New Amsterdam gin. And an ounce of triple sec. And then a dash of absinthe. This stuff is very powerful. Use probably about a ½ ounce as our dash. Mind the ingredients and shake it. Solid 5-10 seconds should do it. And we strain into a cocktail glass. And there you have the White Lily.
All right, well, we were wondering why it was called the White Lily. When he strained it out of the shaker, it was white. It was
Yeah,
pretty
like a
interesting.
cloudy white.
Cloudy white.
But when you're looking at all of the individual liquors in the bottles, it's like, how is that? How are we going to get color out of this? How does the
All right,
world
well,
work?
ladies first.
All right, I'll go first. Sounds good. You don't have to twist my arm. Yeah, literally just tastes like black licorice.
Oh, the whole thing does?
Yeah.
Well, then the rest is mine, because black licorice is one of my favorites, so.
Yeah, it's like, it helps cut out, is there gin in this one? Yeah? Yeah, it helps cut that gin bite there on the, slow down there.
That's really, really good. All right. Well, this
Awesome.
is Last Call. It's the portion of the show where we give you some fun facts and final thoughts about our saint. And again, we are talking about Saint Kateri, the Lily of the Mohawks, and she was from the Turtle Tribe, right? Turtle
Yes, yeah. So she was from the Turtle Tribe, which in the book, if you turn to the page that she's on, there is other options. As you know, most of the saints have different drink options, and you can actually make another drink that's called the Turtle Cocktail. If you want to associate with that part of her instead. Something that I thought was interesting was kind of thinking about her story, because she was actually one of my favorite saints as a child. I just loved anything and everything Native American. And so I was thinking about what it would have been like to become Catholic living in the Mohawk tribe. Like, the Mohawks were known for being like really aggressive, right? Them and the Blackfoot Indians were both like, watch out, type thing, So I was just thinking, what do you think it must have been like for her to be Catholic all of a sudden, going from the Indian spirituality to like...
I think that had to be a challenge for a lot of the tribes when the Jesuits came over and the other missionaries came over to spread Christianity, that I'm sure that they weren't always met with open arms.
And love and kindness.
Let's break bread together. No, it was usually more violent than that.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It just must have been like the bravery that it took for her to do that. So I thought it was interesting that she didn't immediately become like a martyr.
Right.
Because of the culture of the Native Americans.
So
Anyway,
there is a toast that you can use. So as you hoist up your white lily, you can use Kateri's last words, which were, Jesus, I love you.
Oh, awesome.
That's a pretty good
No,
toast.
I can't get much better than that, honestly.
So that wraps up this edition. We have the white lily in honor of St. Kateri, Lily of the Mohawks.
Awesome. Well, please subscribe and follow us on YouTube. You can follow Salt and Light on Facebook or Instagram and all that social media stuff. Next week, what are we up to?
Next week, we're going to talk about St. Vincent de Paul, and we're going to have the St. Vincent cocktail, which could be another adventure. We will see. Fingers crossed. But until then, St. Kateri, pray for us. Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.